Good afternoon and welcome to Print21, the weekly video news bulletin for the Australian and New Zealand print industries from print21.com.au. This week's bulletin sponsored by Spices, creating solutions together. News this week is led by the lockdown, with 3 Australian states, New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia, now in lockdown for at least the next 7 days, next 10 days for New South Wales, and potentially longer. Print businesses are operating in all those states, which have seen parts of their economy shut down, construction, retail, for instance, in New South Wales. But they're open under strict parameters. Printers are still manufacturing under the essential services banner, not because they themselves are essential services, but because they provide necessary goods and services to those essential services and to parts of the economy that have not been shut down. In both Victoria and New South Wales, statewide restrictions are enforced throughout the state, while in New South Wales there are 3 different sets of restrictions. One for regional New South Wales, one for Metro Sydney and the area surrounding Orange now, and one for a trio of local government areas within the metro area. The focus is on preventing movement. Printers in New South Wales can go to the print21.com.au website for all the latest details on who can work and where they can work. Walter Kuhn, president of PVCA, said a company has to decide if the work they're doing is supporting essential activity. Some of that's easy to affirm, the likes of labels for foodstuffs, COVID-safe floor graphics, flyers for medical centres. Other items not as easy to define. Kelly Northwood, CEO at the Real Media Collective, said printers are able to work as essential service supply chain providers. There are 5 main caveats for businesses continuing to print in lockdown. They include allowing staff who can work from home to do just that. So admin, sales staff, anyone else that can work from home should do that where possible and not be coming into the workplace. New South Wales, in fact, has just instigated a $10,000 fine for any business that insists staff come into the office. In addition, all staff at work need to wear masks at all times. Social distancing needs to be maintained, which includes the 1.5 metre rule, and there needs to be a maximum 1 person for every 4 square metres inside. A COVID-safe plan needs to be implemented, needs to be communicated, needs to be understood by the staff, and any visitors need to be registered through the QR code before entering the building. And they must also wear a mask, and preferably actually keep them outside. Visiting clients in their workplace, a grey area. PVCA, though, urges caution in all respects, and in the current climate, few client visits would actually be happening anyway. Printers looking at getting into packaging, one of the areas that you can produce, are invited to join the Heidelberg webinar at 5 p.m. today, 7 p.m. in New Zealand, which will show printers how to use the new Speedmaster CX104 to switch between commercial and packaging work. Go to print21.com.au and click on the links to register. In other news, there's a major installation in Brisbane, with Printcraft installing a new HP Indigo 7K, one of the new generation of HP Indigo presses supplied by Curry Group. The new HP Indigo succeeds the company's existing machine, their existing HP Indigo. With the business also installing its second Horizon CRF 362 creaser folder. The HP Indigo 7K will sit in Printcraft's digital production space. Printcraft runs both digital and offset presses from its new consolidated factory in Hamilton. Printcraft, in fact, is now one of the biggest print businesses in Queensland, with 80 staff on double shift operation for the business, which bought Fergie's, as we know, Fergie's Print and Mail 3 years ago. Print Industry Employers Association, PVCA, saw its membership income fall by 1/3 in the last 12 months as COVID hit, causing printers to keep their cash in their pockets, or as much of it as they could. The loss in revenue from $760,000 in subs to $495,000 saw membership subscriptions contributed to a $580,000 loss for the association, which now stands at 573 print businesses, 160 down on the number 2 years ago. Loss was made up from current assets, with the association now having $5.8 million worth of total assets. PVCA, of course, are now looking for a new CEO to succeed Andrew McCauley, who remains on sick leave following his motorbike accident. Finally, some tough news. Friends of Sydney printer Aido McManis, who worked for Lindsay Yates for many years, since he left school, in fact, and has been working at Rawson Print recently, have set up a GoFundMe page to help Aido's family, as he sadly passed away this week. He has a wife and 2 young children. Go to print21.com.au for all the details. Finally this week, news that PacPrint, the once every 4 years major print trade exhibition for the Australia, New Zealand and regions, has been postponed. An inevitable decision, a smart decision, as the lockdown bit, as cases continue, as vaccination rollout is much slower than expected. The organisers, the PVCA and Visual Connections, the joint hosts, have postponed it to next June, 28th of June to 1st of July, giving plenty of time. By then, we hope everyone will be vaccinated. That's it for this week's issue of Print21. Thanks to our sponsor, Spices, creating solutions together. I'm Wayne Robinson, signing off. Stay safe, get the jab.